All right, we've hit that point again. Let's do some review on Connect and Navigate Cisco iOS. As usual, read the question, think about your answer, pause it while you're doing that, and then unpause, and we'll talk through what's right and what's wrong together. Here we go. Number one, what would the primary reason for using a console connection be to manage a Cisco device? The answer is B. The device has no configuration, which is about the only reason you would want to use the console port, or you've completely lost connectivity to that device remotely. Then you have to run into the IT room, grab your laptop and your console cable, and plug right into the device. That's the whole reason we don't want the console device, is you can't really do that remotely. You have to be there in person. Modem-based connections are actually what the aux port was originally designed for. I've rarely seen that used. This is like a everything's down last resort. I can dial into my router, it answers, and I can manage it over a modem or dial-up based connections. Again, super rare nowadays. And this says modern devices only use RS-232. That's the serial port connectivity. Truth be told, they don't. We often have to get a USB to serial adapter to make it work. Number two, what is the most common console speed for Cisco devices? Answer, 9600 baud. Well, you can set your console port to any of these other speeds and even beyond this to get a faster connection. Most of the time for managing your device, 9600 works just fine. Also know that if you have the wrong speed set, when you connect to it, you'll just get gibberish as output characters. So you want to make sure that you figure out what that right speed is. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in PuTTY guessing through the different variants of speed to try and get the right one. Next question. Typing ls/dev in FreeBSD or Mac OS provides a listing of what information? The answer is B yet again, the installed and recognized device drivers. So the whole idea of the reason we would be here in the first place is to get a serial to a USB to serial adapter working in Mac OS, right? So you open up terminal, do an ls/dev to see if it has the right drivers for that device. If you don't see anything with that *USB* listed, it's time to go to the website and download the right device drivers and get them installed. All these other answers are literally things I just made up. Question number 4. The correct answer to would you like to enter initial configuration dialog is? If there was one takeaway you had from that, it would be no. Not only because it's very limited in what you can set up, it's also far more efficient once you know how to work in the Cisco iOS to go in and do the correct configuration and exact configuration that you want by yourself. Which of the following keystrokes completes a partially typed command? Answer is A. It's tab. Finishes the partially typed command. This moves your cursor back to the beginning of a sentence. This moves it to the end of a sentence or command structure that you're typing in. This executes the command, and space is just space. Question 6. Before you can move to the bulk of the configuration modes, you must first enter the blank configuration mode. Answer is global. When you first get into your router, you're going to be in user mode, which is essentially nothing. The first mode that you move to is privilege mode, but you can't do any configuration from there. You do that by using the enable keyword. So before you can move into any of the other configuration modes, you first have to go to global config mode. We do that by typing in configure terminal, or conft is the shortest way to do that. And then from there, we can move to any one of hundreds of different configuration modes that exist using global config as the platform we jump off of. And lastly, question number 7. What command can you use to display the summary status of all the interfaces on a Cisco device? It's my favorite command in all Cisco. Answer A, show IP interface brief. This gives you a columnized format of the interface name, the IP address, and then the status both at the physical and data link layer so that you can get a quick pulse of what your interfaces are doing. This will give you a whole bunch of information of each interface, which can be useful. It's just not a good brief view of it. These two commands will actually produce syntax errors. And that's the story. Now that you've got the base configuration or base structure of the iOS down, it's time to wrap up this skill and move into future skills where we can configure all kinds of different elements of our Cisco devices. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.